Hi, I'm really excited to do this live solo episode of the Invisible to Invincible podcast. If you have ever wanted to know the fastest way for you to cut through all the nonsense, clutter, chaos, and demands created by modern day entrepreneurship so that your business and brand can stand out in today's world, then there is no better way than live video. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm Kendra Losi. If you don't know me, I have more than 25 years experience in digital marketing, which seems like a crazy number, but it's true. I am the host of the Invisible to Invincible podcast, where I interview experts and business owners who have gone from being hidden gems to leading the way in their fields. Listen, subscribe, do all the things to catch those episodes because I've interviewed some amazing people on the podcast. If you want to learn more about live video and building that unshakable confidence when using live video and marketing, knowing what to say, when to say, and how to say it, then stay tuned for information about the upcoming Invisible to Invincible Lab, because you too can go from invisible to in demand. Okay, so I want to talk about how you're showing up for your business and why live video is the thing you want to be using. If you're not already using live video, then stick around because that's what we're talking about. Here's what I'm finding when I talk to a lot of clients, a lot of business owners, is that there are a few mistakes that they're making with their business. And one of the biggest ones to not growing their business that's holding them back is not showing up at all. They're busy, they're working on their business, they're helping their clients, but they're not showing up for their own business. And what I mean by that is there's a couple different reasons why they do this. One mistake is that they're not showing up at all. And so the second mistake that a lot of business owners tend to make is they try to do too much. They try to show up everywhere and it burns them out. If you haven't used social media before to promote your business, it's easier to start with one platform than try and be everywhere and talk to everybody, because it is a surefire way to burn out for a lot of people. It's very overwhelming. I saw this time and time again when I taught social media marketing as a professor. It was a very quick way for people to burn out just trying to learn the ins and outs of all the platforms and put that strategy and plan together for what they were going to do and how to best show up for their audience. So mistake number one is not showing up at all. Mistake number two is showing up everywhere. One of the other mistakes that I see business owners making is waiting. This goes back to not showing up, but it's just waiting for everything to be perfect. They think they need to have everything buttoned up and perfect and ready to go before they even start talking about it. And that is one of the mistakes in terms of not showing up, but it's something that holds people back. So we're going to go into that a little bit more in a minute. Why live video? It's easy to say, okay, Kendra, you've been recording your podcast and pretending they're live. Great. I said it out loud, didn't I? And here's the thing. I have been recording my podcast because I found that it's easier to get more people at different times because they're not held to my time zone. When I did my live video show in the past, when I've worked with clients and done live interviews and produced live interviews and hosted live interviews for them, it is truly live. And there is a power to that because you can start to build the community. You're talking and engaging with people. There's so many benefits to live video. The social media platforms love live video. They want you to keep people on the platform. So they tend to push live video forward and show it to more people. There is a power to video because of the authenticity of being live. If I say something wrong, or if I make a mistake, or if my dog starts barking, you know it's live. It's not going to be perfect. And I have found personally that helps set expectations for myself, and it makes the bar lower because I don't have to worry about all the extras of being perfect when I know it's going to be live, because I'm going to do the best I can and trust that you are here listening to me because I have experience and I can bring value and insights and help you solve problems you might have, and not because you think I'm perfect, because let's be clear, none of us are. So why would I try to be something that wouldn't even really be that interesting? You want my perspective, my opinion on things. You don't want me to be perfect. Who does? That would be so boring. That would be so boring. So live video is something that people have increasingly found because it can be more authentic. You can really show who you are as you're thinking on the fly and thinking through things and answering questions and engaging with people when it's live. I don't have a script in front of me. Are you kidding me? I have bullet points on a sticky note. That's what I have. That's what I'm working off of. And so if I go off track, it's my own fault because I got excited about a topic. But we're not going to do that today to you. We're going to stay focused. And so there's a ton of different stats on why live video, but here's the thing. Right now, AI cannot replace me talking to you live. And so welcome if you're joining, I'm talking about the power of live video today. And AI cannot replace me live. So I want to show up for you. I want to use live video to cut through any clutter, to help me make better content so that way I can help you. And I can do it live and answer your questions and engage with you as it's happening. So there's a ton of different reasons on why live video and why you can use live video and how you can use live video in interesting and unique ways. And so the few that I've talked about have been just touch the tip of the iceberg. There's a ton of stats I've found, and I don't have them in front of me because I'm working off bullet points here, but really it's because it gives you the chance to show up. There's no reason not to. And I know that live video, the idea of it tends to, scare the pants off a lot of people, and myself included. Here's a true story about when I was first starting with live video. I learned all the technology. I went through all of the hoops to figure it out and use tools like Ecamm, which I'm using right now, which are amazing to be able to use to help me go live. And what I found is that I still was nervous. I was creating a show and I was going to have a weekly series. And I did. I had that weekly series for 4 years. And did nearly 100 episodes over that time period of interviewing people. And yet, before I got started, I knew the technology, I knew the information, I was nervous, and I was just having trouble committing to a start date. And I happened to be at a mastermind group, and I was talking to a friend, and his name's John. And John looked at me and said, "What's the holdup?" I started with a bunch of excuses in terms of I'm not sure, it's weird, it's live, I don't know what's happening. And honestly, John looked at me and he said, "Don't you teach?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I know exactly what I'm going to say. I have my outlines. I teach for 4.5 hours a night. It's time to fill. I know what I need to cover. I know what the talking points are to get through that." And he said, "Don't you teach online?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I do. I turn on Zoom and I go in and I teach and I do the things and I give people the information and I teach social media marketing to my students." And he was like, "How is that different from going live?" And I had to think about it because in my head, I had made them totally different. One was a structured thing. People had paid to be there. It was people I already knew for the most part after the first class. But when I go live, and when you go live, you don't know who's going to be there. You don't know who's going to see it. You don't know what comments. There's no room for the unexpected. And so I realized he was right. And I was just holding myself back. The fear that I had was all in my head. And so I went home that day and scheduled the start of the live series. Those of you who are showing up here, welcome. By the way, this is the live Invisible to Invincible podcast episode. And so all of those fears that I had, I realized were the things that make live video even more powerful, right? So as far as like what to say, I mentioned this already. I have a few sticky notes, and those are just there to keep me on track. They're there to make sure that I don't get derailed by the conversation. So I already know what I'm going to say. I already know the topic that I'm going to talk about because of the power of live video and what it can bring, what it can do. And then it's also understanding that it's okay to realize that you are going to mess up. You might mess up. Nothing's perfect. And I just realized that I had the comments bar closed. So if you are adding a comment, please let me know. I just opened it up so I can see them if anyone's saying anything or have any questions. So a lot of the fears is around like messing up. The very first time I went live, I was sitting on my couch and my dog started doing puppy gymnastics behind me and fell behind the couch. Everyone was laughing. I could tell because of the comments that went crazy, but I just stayed on track. Like I still remember it to that day because it was the puppy gymnastics day. And you know what? No one cared. It actually brought more warmth and humanity to what I was trying to say and talk about because I was still approaching live video like it was a lesson that I had to teach. And that's just ingrained from all those years of teaching. And the other thing is that, people are worried that they might be talking to no one. That they might be looking out there and saying, okay, I'm talking to myself, and talking to the camera is really hard. But here's the thing. You're not talking to the camera. I'm not talking to the camera. I'm talking to all of you. And so seeing the camera there can be daunting for a lot of people because they don't get the warmth. You don't get the reaction. You can't see and get that immediate feedback. So guess what? I just assume I'm doing a great job and that you absolutely love everything I'm saying because I know that that's true. Another common fear I hear from business owners when it comes to going live is that the tech seems overwhelming. You know what? It's not. Depending on your platform, you can just grab your phone and go live and start talking to people. I got access to TikTok Live for a while, and I ended up doing just like live streaming my boyfriend's wheelchair basketball games because I was watching them anyway, and it's a great sport. So why not show it off to people? And I ended up interviewing a couple coaches and talking about the sport, which I know very little about, and making up play names and things like that. And I had a blast and no one cared. And if people did care and make comments, I banned them because it was my channel and I could do what I wanted to. So the tech, it can be as hard and as complicated or as simple as you make it. There's only a few key things that you need. Good lighting, good camera, good microphone. In reverse order. Good microphone, good lighting, good camera. Another thing I hear from people is that they think they're too old. Oh, that's for younger people. You know what? F that. Okay? That's not true. There are so many business owners, and I'm just going to say it, over the age of 40 who are afraid to go on camera, afraid to market themselves because when you look online, everyone looks younger. And that's because there's too many people who are holding on to the information and the stories they have. There's too many people who have decided that live video is not for them, that video of any kind is not for them because they feel awkward, because they don't look the way they used to, because they don't think they look the way they should, whatever. You are who you are and you look great and you're perfectly imperfect, and people want to know your experience. They want to learn from you and the value you bring. There's so many experts and people who are so good at what they do and they refuse to share it because they're afraid. One of the quotes that I saw is, don't be the first person to say no to you. Because why would you willingly say no to yourself before anyone else can? So the other thing is actually deciding to do it. Once you've decided, it can take some time to actually just press that go live button. But when you've done the work before and you know what you're going to say, you know the topic that you're going to talk about, you decided that it doesn't matter if you mess up. You've decided you don't care if you're talking to no one when you first get started. Because guess what? Sometimes it takes a while for things to take hold. But live video is the fastest way to get started on social media and to stand out. And it doesn't matter if tech's not your thing, because there's ways around that. And it doesn't matter if you decided you're too old, because guess what? You're not. There's no such thing as too old. And it's that pressing the button to go live that's that last hurdle. And then when you do you know how fun it is? Do you know how fun it can be to go live? I have interviewed people from around the country for clients, for myself. I've interviewed people around the world. I've had people do interviews where my client was sending me text messages telling me that the mask of the person in the room during the pandemic slipped off and they can't have that, and trying to the stress level was high, but it was still fun. I've interviewed people who were going through storms in the UK and they kept losing electricity and kept bouncing off, and it was okay because it was live and it was fun and we could make it work. And it made it more authentic and it made it real because that's what they were going through in that moment, in that time. So part of it is understanding that you have the confidence and bringing in the confidence that you believe in what you're saying, that you believe in the value that you can bring, that you have something important to share, that your experience is worth sharing, that someone else can learn from what you've done. And you can't do that unless you take action. So when you decide that you want to show up, when you decide that you want to stop being invisible and start being in demand, when you decide that all those fears don't matter, that's when you can shine. That's when you can start taking action and show up with confidence and share your value and understand where the biggest impact that you can make is. And you know what? Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's not easy. Some days I don't feel like doing it. I won't lie. There's been times where I've wanted to go live or needed to go live, and it was like the last thing I wanted to do. And on those times, I get ready, I do the things, I put on my favorite music, I dance around the house, or I'll take my dog for a walk and get moving. Because for me, movement starts creating more action and more excitement. And then I can start thinking about the things I'm going to say and the things I'm going to do and what that's going to make a difference. Because when you show up, you're doing, that's half the battle right there, right? Just going live. No one expects it to be perfect. No one expects you to be perfect. People don't want perfection. And I want to know who decided what's perfect anyway, right? What's perfect? Who decides what's perfect and what's not? They want to know you're perfectly perfect for them. They want to know that you're real, that you're authentic, that you own what your value, that you own your experience and what you can bring and what you can do for them. And then, and this was a hard one for me to learn, live video can become a conversation and less a presentation. I was so used to filling 4.5 hours when I was teaching. I have the spreadsheet I use for when I teach for those giant blocks of time where I break it down into 15, 20-minute pieces, and each 15, 20-minute piece has a goal for what that's going to be. And sometimes they get merged together, sometimes they don't, but it was the only way that I could break up 4.5 hours into chunks that I can find manageable so I would know what I was going to say when and how to handle it. And it was taking those lessons of teaching to live video that all of a sudden I was like, wait, I need to get through things sooner and faster and more to the point faster, and not taking 4.5 hours because no one wants to watch me go live for 4.5 hours, and showing up and doing conversations, making live video a conversation versus a presentation. So if you've caught any of my podcast episodes, or if you've tuned in, which you should like and subscribe to the Invisible to Invincible podcast, it's right there. Look right there. All mine are conversations. I am naturally curious and I love to learn about people. And so the more I can make something a conversation and less a presentation, the better. Now, when it's just me and my solo episodes, yeah, I'm telling you about what I know and what I've learned and why I believe in whatever it is that I'm talking about. But the rest of the episodes, not the solo ones, are me having a conversation with people because I'm just naturally curious and want to know. I love to know things, and that's a great way to do it. And the other thing about going live is that you can practice. I have fake Facebook groups set up that I have sent people and students in to just go practice. Like, I assign them in there. I want to see you practice. I've practiced in them too, because you want to make sure your tech setup's right. You want to make sure this is right. You want to make sure that's right. But you want to get used to talking to a camera, because there is no person that I can see. I can see all of you that have tuned in and that are watching right now. Hi. But I can't see who you are, and I can't see you when I look at my camera. I just have to pretend that I see your smiling faces there. And so that takes practice. It's a different thing talking to the camera versus talking to an individual person. But when I start to pretend that the camera is each and every one of you, and then I'm talking to you directly, then it gets more powerful. Then it becomes like, hey, let me tell you about this amazing thing that I know how to do, that I've helped other people do, that I've done for clients, that has gotten tons of visibility for them, because it's a faster way to cut through and to be authentic. And honestly, one of the biggest things that I think is really important when you're considering live video and using video and actually going live is remembering that it's not for you. It doesn't matter if you think you're too old, don't know what to say. It's for other people. So as long as you show up with something and some value to solve a problem for people, that's where the value is going to be. I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this because I think I look amazing on camera. I'm doing this because I think that live video is the fastest way to cut through all of the clutter, and increasingly all of the AI clutter and posts and things that we can see. And it's AI half the time, most of the time. And just show up as yourself. Show up authentically as yourself. And remember that it's not for you, it's for other people. It's for the people who could learn, who need to hear what you have to say. And then you can have that conversation and build engagement and community and help bring other people along so they feel like they're part of the experience. Because it's not fun to do it by yourself. You want to bring people along. You want to attract people and relate to people who are going through what you're going through, who are seeing what you're seeing, who are understanding that you want to know more. And that's how you can do it. And so here's the thing. If you are curious about live video at all, if you want to know more about how to become more confident in your business, in your marketing, on video, as you promote yourself and your business, if you want to become more confident, if you want to let go of those fears that are holding you back from marketing, if you're still trying to figure out what to say and how to say it and where to start and what to even do, let's talk. I've just opened up the doors for the Invisible to Invincible lab, and we go through all of those pieces. So as part of the lab, we go through letting go of those limiting beliefs, understanding what it means to be confident, what it means to show up and take action and start building that as a habit, understanding what to say for your business, how to say it, where to say it, making sure your offer and your promises and everything you need to talk about is covered, and then looking at getting started. So students in the lab go through, and most of them, we plan on doing 6 live videos for the cohort in 10 weeks. And so it's designed to help you go from invisible to in demand in 10 weeks. And so if you have any questions about it, let me know. If you want to talk more about it, let me know. Leave a comment below or email me and let's talk about it, because there is nothing more powerful than live video when you're looking at promoting yourself and your business online. And it is the fastest and most efficient way to get started with your marketing, to stand out with your marketing, and to really show up as yourself authentically so people get the best idea of what you're like and what it's like to work with you. So let's talk about it. You can join the lab. We're starting on September 23rd. And this podcast, the lab, everything I'm doing is designed to help you become the business owner that you have always known you can be. that you have always believed that you can be. There's enough nonsense in the world that's created by all the chaos and demands of modern entrepreneurship. Let's just cut through all of that and get started. What are you waiting for? New podcast episodes drop every Thursday. This is the Invisible to Invincible podcast. I'm your host, Kendra Losi, and until next time, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me live this time for my solo episode. Bye, guys.